Now, tourniquets can only be used on arms and legs. They can't be used in any other part of the body. So they're a very, very good tool for stopping bleeding because they'll stop all blood flow beyond that point. The one we've got here is the rapid stop. There are lots of other different types of tourniquet we could be talking about here, different designs. They all work in a similar way in the sense that how they work, they constrict the arm or the leg to stop bleeding, but the action will be different. This particular one's a ratchet action, others will be rotary, some have a rotary knob on them, others have a windlass that you wind round. Or you could be looking at a improvised tourniquet. This could be a triangular bandage, the material type, not the paper type. You'd wind it round with a spanner, or you could be using a tourniquet, which is a citizen aid product. Now, when we're putting these on, as you apply them, it is going to be painful for the casualty, but once it's on, it will start to become more comfortable because you're just going to cut the blood flow and it's going to go numb. But it will be painful, so just be aware of that. They may well be shouting, screaming, things like that. So just make sure they're not going to lash out at you and you keep them safe. So the general rule is observe the injury and make sure you're ready to use them. So is direct pressure or hemostats an option before you put them on? But if you've decided to put them on, you need to put them above where the injury is, and then you apply the tourniquet on in place. Now, how they actually work will be, as it's crushing on the body, it's to start with, it's crushing the capillaries in the skin, which will cut a little bit of blood flow, but not a massive amount. Then it's pushing through, and the next one that will probably be cut off is the venous return. And then the final one will be the arteries. Now, arteries, because they're pulsing blood and under high pressure, naturally your body has them in the safest possible place nearest to the bone. So you do need to apply a lot of pressure. Now, if you just cut off the venous return without cutting off the arteries, every bit of blood that could pump through there, the only place it can go is out through the cut. Because normally if you've got a cut like this, and you put a tourniquet on, or even if it's just leaving it open, blood is going to come out here, but some of it will be returning back through the body in the venous system. But if you don't put this on tight enough, you're going to potentially cut off the venous system without cutting off the arterial system. So you need to apply enough pressure on them, which is why when you're putting them on, you need to make sure that you pull them tight first before winding round and before using a ratchet. Because what you might find is you get to the very end of the ratchet or end of the wind round, in which case you're going to have to put a second one on. So pull it by hand on tight first and then start ratcheting it or winding it round to actually stop the blood flow. Now, as far as using tourniquets too high up the arm and leg, you're getting very close to joints. So that's the point where you're going to need to stop to use them, and you have to move on to packing the wound with a hemostat and putting trauma dressings on to apply any junctional type issues right up into the groin or right up here, because you're not going to be able to apply a tourniquet. As far as where you're using them, so you put the tourniquet on above the injury. Remember, the second one will go above that, not below it and not over the top of it or anything silly like that. It must go above. And you can use a second tourniquet if you've got one in your kit. Some kits do have two tourniquets, but others may not, in which case then you need to find something to use as a windlass and put an improvised one above the first one, and hopefully that will stop. And obviously, once you put tourniquets on, keep monitoring the patient, keep looking at the injury to see whether there's any bleeding, and hopefully that this will stop the bleed. And also make sure you note the time it's been applied, and also if you put a second one, the time that was applied, and make sure the emergency services know that. So when the patient gets to hospital, the doctors there will know how long that tourniquet has been in place. You can get a pen and just write on the patient, just write what the time it was applied, as well as telling the emergency services. And also make sure if you do put tourniquets on and you cover the patient up, which you need to keep them warm, don't just cover this up and don't look at it. Make sure you cover the patient up and make sure it's obvious that there's a tourniquet, and make sure you tell everybody who arrives on scene that you've put a tourniquet on, just in case it's covered over and bandaged and someone doesn't notice it's there because of lots of other injuries that they're dealing with.